Hey, just a thought for the day. When I was a kid, our class and our school, when I was a kid, we would have this moment of silence at the beginning of the day right after the anthem would play. And in those moments, I would pray that God would give me an opportunity to serve Him well. And that's the way I was raised, to be a good witness in my school and my friends around me. And there was at one point that I remember realizing that God was giving me more opportunities than I was taking advantage of. And so I would change the way I pray in those moments and pray that God would give me opportunities and the faith to walk into those opportunities. I was thinking about that actually yesterday. As I was walking around, I went for a walk around the reservoir down at Muskosipi, and there was this moment where I was walking and I was thinking about opportunities and talking to people and things like that. And I was kind of coming around past the college, and there was another trail that was kind of adjoining and meeting up with the trail I was on, and there was a guy that was walking there, and you know how you do this sometimes when you're going into like a grocery store or on a trail or something like that. You're kind of looking to see what other traffic is there, and like you're like slowing down sometimes to make sure that you're not going too quickly so you don't run into them at that. I don't want to be having that awkward moment of like trying to say like, no, you go ahead, no, you go ahead. You kind of moderate your speed, right? Well, I found myself doing that in that moment, thinking like, I'll just slow down a little bit so that this person can get ahead of me on the trail, and then we'll walk. Now, then I had this moment of realization, and maybe I think it was the Holy Spirit that was like challenging me with this idea of wanting God to give me opportunities, but then being too afraid to actually run into somebody, right? And so I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just continue on walking and at the normal speed. And if I end up at the same intersection as that person, then doesn't matter. I'll just let it go and see what God does. So anyway, so I came in behind this person. They ended up being ahead of me, and they walked on ahead. And as I was catching up, because I was walking a little bit faster, this person stopped and turned around and just struck up a conversation with me, like just right in the middle of the trail, like asked me if I was going to work and what I was doing. And so in that moment, in the last like 3 minutes before that happened, I had this like internal theological struggle, and then followed directly by this person like literally stopping, turning around, asking what I do. And so I said, yeah, I'm going back to work. And because I was walking around back towards the church, and they said, oh, well, what do you do? And so that I was able to share them. I'm a pastor. I'm just going for a walk. It's a beautiful day. And so then I asked them what they were doing. They're a student in the college. And so I asked them what program they're in, and I learned their name. And so anyway, it was just one of those moments that I really felt strongly that God was teaching me a lesson. And so, because we oftentimes as Christians want to be used by God, but when it comes time for that moment to actually be used by God, we're a little bit too afraid to actually step into it. So let that be an encouragement to you and a challenge for me as well, because when I pray, God, use me today for your purposes, I also need to remember that I need to have the grace and the courage to step into the things and the opportunities that God gives me.